Perfect.
Salute, and welcome. Welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now, so we're getting the deep end with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have to cover this particular tragic subject here. But tonight, the way I'm going to approach this is actually going to be in the tone of trying to plead with the younger, more impressionable Black sisters out here in the community. Because somebody has to try to do this the right way, okay? And we've covered these stories for years over here in the New Black Media. Tragic outcomes, okay? And we've seen it on both sides, Black men and Black women, no matter what our lineages are. When you start playing in the mayonnaise, you're going to pay for it eventually, okay? So, and salute to the good sister Sakina Collins for the cash out. People already showing love early here. And excuse me, bear with my voice, man. I'm telling you, y'all, listen. The white supremacists have been trying to attack the channel. Your brother was a little bit under the weather for the last couple of days. Then I had to take care of some family business. But I'll go ahead and explain why I had to set some of the broadcasts to later dates, because let's just go ahead and put it out there right now. The white supremacists are going to be mad. The Mark Furman broadcast that I did, that's still up on YouTube, okay? We had to beat a fraudulent claim. Oh, they want that one taken down. I mean, listen, I'm surprised they haven't gotten an age restriction on it yet. But they haven't been able to take it down because everything was within the bounds of fair use. So they're irate about it. They're pissed off. And look, let me tell you white supremacists something. You're going to be a lot more pissed off in the coming broadcast that we have on this channel. One of the things that I like to do anytime I have an issue with PukeTube, I like to get all of that cleared and squared away before I continue anything. So that's the reason why your brother had to set some of the broadcasts to later dates. But just know they're going to be even angrier because I've got some stuff coming up that's, it's going to get them where they need to be, okay? And we ain't going to do nothing but tell the truth. So just wanted to clear that up with everybody. Now, like I said, I don't think I have to tell the moderators this. And salute to the good brother Daryl Bledsoe for the cash app. I don't think I have to tell the moderators this, but I want my moderators to be very clear on this. If anybody come over here with that gender banging nonsense, get them up out of here. Don't even give them a warning, okay? Because we're doing this from the standpoint of trying to reason with the younger sisters, and we're going to be using nothing but the truth dealing with this recent current event, and we're going to look at some past history as well, okay? Because I'm going to go ahead and say it. You see the title of the broadcast? We have to place the blame where it belongs, not just on the white supremacist demonic murderer that killed this sister and many others that have killed the sisters that we've seen that go over there with that divestment dummy movement. That's what I call it. But we have to place the blame on those that are on these platforms, right? Excuse me. We have to place the blame on those that are on these platforms that are trying to make a bag off of impressionable young Black women's pain, okay? They're just as much to blame for this because, see, let me be clear. Hold on, let me take a swig of water. Let me be clear. They're just as much to blame for this as the murderers, because you don't see them speak up when these sisters are killed at all. They don't say anything. They act like nothing happens. You don't hear them trying to give information about how to spot, okay, when the white supremacists that you're trying to date are deranged, okay? They don't say anything about that. But we're going to cover it over here tonight with the hope that it will reach the right people and get them to think twice before you start playing in the mayonnaise. So we got to look at a couple of things. Let me go on up here and put this on the screen, because I want to make sure that I'm thorough in covering this. Now, let me say it one more time. If you're not familiar with my content and what I do, I'm not a person that when I see something happen to these sisters or brothers at the hands of them folks, I don't make light of it. I don't think it's funny, because no matter what you think about them, they're still black people. Some of our people are easily misled due to having made bad choices or bad decisions, and then they think the grass is greener over there with them folks. But see, I'm going to tell you what the common denominator thread in a lot of this is, okay? And let me know if you can hear me okay. And again, bear with my voice. I've been out and about doing a whole lot of different things, okay? So my voice is a bit strained. As you all know, I actually run a private security company. I've been training folks, been yelling. So my voice is probably a bit strained. It's all good. But let me know if y'all can hear me okay. Okay, so I'm seeing some people say, Charles Gibson says, sound good. See, I'll wait for a bit more confirmation. Let's see here. And in the chat, let me make sure I got the chat up. First of all, everything here. Oh, and expect Puke 2 to do what they do with this broadcast tonight. They're going to do what they always do. We're going to power through it, though. Okay, good. Everybody can hear me. Okay. So now, as I was saying, the common denominator thread between each of these cases where it's a black man or a black woman that ends up getting killed at the hands of them folks, they all seem to be either oblivious of or completely ignore the centuries-long history that we've had with them folks, okay? What you see on the screen here is Lauren Smithfields and her murderer, Matthew LaFontaine, Asia Maynard, who was a mother, by the way, to I think, 3 or 4 children, and her murderer, Isaiah Crown. Now, if you're a young black woman listening to this broadcast, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to say here tonight, because when I tackle these subjects, I don't do it from the, oh, yeah, that's what they get standpoint. Now, any person doing that is ignorant as hell. But we must tell the truth about how they place themselves in these situations. See, let me speak a bit about protection, all right? Let's swig this water. Protection doesn't mean you go and get yourself in trouble and then here come black men to the rescue to get you out of it. That's not the way protection is supposed to work. Protection, and y'all have heard me say this many times over the years, protection begins with an open ear, okay? So that means if you're listening to your protectors, which are black men, because let's be clear, every race of women, their protectors are their own men. Okay, if they don't get protection from their own men, they're not going to get it. If you have an open ear, that means you listen to the counsel of your protectors, which means keeping you out of certain situations before you get into them. Okay? That's what defense is about. All right? It's not when you just go do what you want to do and ignore everything that your protectors are telling you, and then here we go, got to go come get you out of something. No, that's putting everybody at risk, and it's putting you at risk most of all when you're dealing with these white supremacists, okay? So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I got to go ahead and bring this up as well, because I'm doing this to teach you something. And a lot of people are not going to do this way, but I am, because I actually care about all of my people in the community. Got to put this up. I'm going to take this banner down for a second. And again, I'm not doing this to mock any of these victims. I'm trying to teach a lesson here, and it's going to be made very clear tonight. This is the sister, the dearly departed, Lauren Smithfields. And you see this tweet. Or rather, I think this was on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. Now, whoever this Key Ray's Webster person is, they said, when I start dating white men, just know I tried my hardest with you colors. Okay? Now, this, in that divestment divestment dummy movement, and gotta tell the truth, Lawrence Smithfields was a part of that. And as you see, and this breaks my heart to see this, to be honest with you, because when you love your people, you have love for even the wayward amongst them, okay? Because they don't know no better, and they're young. She's got up there, diss me, AF, and y'all know what AF means. Now, that's very haunting and chilling to me, because that woman is no longer with us. But I'm showing you this, not to mock her in death, but I'm showing you this just so you can see what her mindset was before she died, okay? That's the reason why I'm showing that. Let me say something to black men and black women alike, okay? And let me talk to y'all. I understand when you out here in the dating world, you have ups and downs. You may pick a person that might break your heart, or it might be a situation where you ignored certain things that you knew you shouldn't have, and then you keep choosing the same type of people. In either event, don't go running over there to them folks thinking that they're so much better than us. Because see, this is what I implore you to do. If you over here listen to this broadcast live or record it, I'm going to implore you to look at the history between those particular group of people, them folks, and black people. It has always been a losing effort for us to cross over and deal with them. Now, let's be clear. Grown people are going to date who they want to date. They're going to do what they want to do. But when you keep saying our people die like this, okay? Innocent young women, all right? And I get it. They have views. Some of them have views that we didn't like. But nonetheless, I don't want to see any of you, even if you can't stand me, I don't want to see any of you die like this. I don't. Because this is avoidable. Now, you can take this, go in one ear and out the other if you want to, but just know that the worst thing in the world is when somebody's trying to tell you something and then you realize all too late that what they were telling you was right and you just don't want to listen. Okay. The worst thing in the world is to be in a position where you realize that you was wrong and now you're not going to get a chance to go home and see your loved ones. But I'm going to shock y'all because I got something to say. To the tether class of women too. Yeah, I got to go here. Because I'm putting this broadcast in the context where I want everybody to understand what I'm saying. Those of you tether class women that think white men are the greatest thing since sliced bread, I'm going to tell you something. You better be careful because they really don't like you like that. Let me make this clear. Those little false compliments that they give you, oh, you not like the black Americans, this, that, the third. I keep saying this. We all try to tell y'all. That's an insult. You just don't get it. You the butt of the joke, and it's a running joke. You're more vulnerable at risk of being harmed because you don't naturally suspect them of anything, which is crazy if you know your own history with colonization. The white supremacists have the same mindset globally, okay? So, I got to play this. And again, I'm not doing this to mock anybody. I'm trying to teach a lesson here, so I'm going to show y'all why I'm addressing the tether class women because I don't want them hurt either. But like I said, I know some people will take this and it'll go in one ear and out the other. I'm going to play some and I want y'all to check this out, family.
Anda swinene. Na.
Grorando swinene.
Na.
That was perfect.
Na.
Pretty much.
Na.
That shit.
Repeat after me, please. Na.
Na.
Gu.
Hu.
Randa.
Randa.
Swinene.
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 Swi.
Swi.
Swinene.
Swinene.
Nakuranda swinene.
Nagranda swinene.
Nakuranda swinene. Na.
Macrorando sui nene.
Na.
That was perfect.
Na.
I pretty much
Na.
nailed that shit.
Repeat after me, please. Na.
Okay. What you just saw right there was a South African woman from the Songa tribe. So apparently that's her white husband. But see, let me tell y'all something, man. For those of you that are continental African or Caribbean, if you really knew your history during colonization, what these people did to your ancestors and what they're doing today in a form of neo-colonization, let's be clear, don't you know that one of the most insulting things you can do is not only go over there and marry and procreate with them, but teach them your language? You just think about that for a minute. See, now I already know where a lot of them will go hearing me say that, oh, you racist. I'm like, first of all, that goes to show how far behind you are understanding things. Racism is prejudice plus power, not calling somebody a name, okay? That's not racism. Y'all let them folks come over there. You bow down, you get to jumping and up and down and dancing and singing when they're around, and you really don't understand that they've proven to you over the years many times that they mean you no good. Many of our grandmaster teachers that are foundational Black American freedmen have warned you. Many of your own people, the likes of Jomo Kenyatta, okay, Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, Joshua Mapanga, Julius Malema, okay, even though he can be controversial sometimes among South Africans. My point is this: plenty of your people and ours have tried to warn you about these folks. But see, unfortunately, with a lot of them, I just got to say this, and I'm not a person that takes joy in what I'm about to say, but I just have to go off of what I've seen, not just from here in America, but having been to many different countries on the continent. It seemed like colonization did a far worse number on the mentally, going down past generations than slavery did on us. It just does. I mean, I'm not saying all of our continental African brothers and sisters or Caribbean brothers and sisters are like that woman, but damn it, it's far too many. It's far too many. So tonight's broadcast is going to be trying to talk some sense into folks, because I'm going to tell y'all something, man. I don't want to see any of our sisters harmed or hurt, okay? One of the things that my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents always taught all of us in the family, and see, this is why you should stick with your own kind. I'm not saying we don't have crazy people in the Black community that do silly things or you know, egregious things as far as harming somebody. But what I am saying is the numbers are far higher over there in Zaddy's community, because you got to look at something. When Zaddy get upset at his own women, even if his wife and children, he'll kill the wife, the children, and then kill himself. We've seen that too many times. So my great-grandparents and your own down taught us this. When you dating somebody, okay, married to them, whatever, if y'all see where you can't make it, for whatever reason, then you send each other back to each other's family just as they came to you in good health. Because no matter how much you hate that person, no matter how much you can't stand that person, they've got somebody that loves them and cares about them just like we care about you. Those are words that will always stick with me, and that's what I live by to this day. If I'm talking to somebody or whatever, and I see we just can't make it, I'm going to send them back to their family in good health, just like they came to me. That's a part of my family's tradition and lineage, okay? So that I just want to drop that bit of wisdom that has served me well with you all here tonight. But we're going to go ahead and get into this lesson tonight, because I hate to see this, man. I hate it because those damn divestment dummies, and I have so much venom for them, they sit up here and exploit these young Black women that haven't even had time to get out here in the dating market and experience things and then understand about life. There's no such thing as just a perfect life all the way through. You're going to have ups and downs in life. Even if you get married to somebody, you're going to have ups and downs. But that doesn't mean that you just abandon your own people. Oh, it must be better over here. Oh, my God, they sicken me with that, because these old heifers, they know how dangerous this is. But they sit their funky asses up here on YouTube and many other platforms making money off of people's pain, not even caring about how dangerous it is for them to go over there to that other side and then potentially not come back home to their family. So that's the standpoint I'm coming at it from here tonight. So with that said, we're going to get started reviewing this. We'll be stopping it as need be. And before we do, since the white supremacists are always trying to monitor this channel and get things taken down, fair use, fair use. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a Milwaukee bartender now at the center of an investigation into a severed leg. 12 News Investigates is learning more about Maxwell Anderson, including what law enforcement sources tell us they found in his basement.
Anderson has not been charged. At the same time, 19-year-old Sade Robinson has been missing for 10 days.
Police say she was last seen April 1st with her burnt car later found near 30th and Lisbon.
This past weekend, investigators discovered human remains near 31st and Galena over 3 consecutive days.
Now, this is the second place a body part was found in Milwaukee County in a week. That severed leg was found in Warnemont Park in Cudahy on April 2nd.
12 News' Hannah Hilliard is live outside Anderson's home near 39th in Oklahoma. And Hannah, you've been looking into his past all day long.
Yeah, Joyce and Patrick, and we have uncovered a lot, including Anderson's ties to Waukesha County and what sources are telling us investigators found inside this home exactly 1 week ago. This is the man behind bars, but not yet charged.
In the interest of Maxwell Stephen Anderson.
Appearing in court in connection to a case that's captivated Milwaukee. Who is Maxwell Anderson? We know he's a Southside resident whose house at 39th in Oklahoma was searched by investigators 2 days after someone found a severed leg on the Lake Michigan shore in Cudahy. 12 News has confirmed the 33-year-old man has ties to Waukesha County, attending Kettle Moraine, Catholic Memorial, and Pewaukee high schools in the early 2000s. Anderson has a criminal record, a 2014 misdemeanor disorderly conduct conviction in Waukesha County after an incident with a family member in Delafield, and in 2015, a misdemeanor domestic violence case out of Door County. For the last few years, he's worked at several Milwaukee bars.
He works full-time,
including The Rave from 2018 to 2020, most recently working at Victor's nightclub on the east side. A woman who claims she met Anderson there spoke to 12 News by phone, but asked not to be identified out of fear for her safety. She says he once invited her to his Southside home.
I remember there being something about a hole in the yard, and this was back in fall. I remember asking about it, and he was like, oh, I'm building a garden.
In a view from News Chopper 12,
all right, that looks like a hole there, actually.
A gaping hole next to Anderson's house was visible earlier this week. Inside the home,
and when I got in, it just kind of seemed like he was in the middle of a whole bunch of renovations, but kind of seemed like the kind of guy that never would finish them.
Thursday, 12 News learned from multiple law enforcement sources Anderson had what is described as a sex dungeon in his basement.
So I got a little bit of a tour, and he was like, do you want to see the basement? And I was like, no, I'm okay. He's like, it's creepy down there. And I was like, no, that's okay.
Now, Hannah, Anderson hasn't been charged, but is still being held after almost a week in jail.
Right, Joyce. So the court did give prosecutors an additional 72 hours to either charge Anderson or release him. Those 72 hours run out tomorrow morning. We will, of course, be sure to stay on top of any developments and bring them to you as they happen on air and online.
Hannah Hilliard live in Milwaukee. And as we have been reporting, that 72-hour hold on Maxwell Anderson expires tomorrow. We asked legal expert Craig Mastantuno about what could happen next.
If he's released, that doesn't stop prosecutors and police from continuing to gather evidence and potentially charge Mr. Anderson at a later date. In other words, tomorrow is not a dismissal or move forward date. It's a move forward with a complaint or release the suspect.
All right, so now you heard that initial report right there, okay? So, let me say this to young black women, no matter what your lineage is, okay? You heard how they said that this demonic murdering bastard had a so-called sex dungeon in his room. Let me tell you something right now. No matter what you think of black men or how bad you think, how bad you've been harmed or had your heart broken, we don't have no damn sex dungeons in our room. Let me tell you something. Even those of us that are the freakiest of the freaky ain't running around with no damn, hey, you want to see my sex dungeon? You got to understand that these people are degenerates. This is why having a strong command of history, and I've always taught you all this on this platform, having a strong command of history and understanding how it correlates to present day helps protect you from a great deal in the present. Okay? When you take it on back to the Greco-Roman era times, these people's degeneracy has been passed down through generations. They don't see human interaction, sex, love, or anything the same way as black people, okay? They don't. They really don't. Because right now, let me tell you something. Barring a handful of cases, you never see a black man go kill his wife, kill his children, and then kill himself. That's very rare that you see that. Notice I said very rare. I didn't say it never happens. I said it's very rare. At the end of the day, most black men and black women, we can't get along. We just go our separate ways. That's it. Ain't nobody got to worry about nobody dying. It might be some people talking trash on either side, but everybody gets to live, okay? And that's what I want for all of our people, okay? Even if you're not of our lineage, all right? I want you to be wise and make the decisions that will bring you back home to your family. Let me say something else. To those of you, because I know people are going to do what they want to do. I'm saying that again. To those of you that might happen to hear this and you still going to go out there and chase zaddy, I ask you to do this favor for not only me, but for yourself and for your family. You better tell somebody where your ass is going. You hear me? Let me tell you something. I am a grown-ass man. I'm a combat veteran. And even I, as a Gen Xer, retired military, for those that don't know, I tell my family where I'm going. If I'm going out the country, out of town, somewhere, somebody's going to know where I'm at. That's nothing that makes you a punk or makes you not grown. That's smart, because if something happens to you, people need a starting point on where to look last. They would say, okay, well, my niece said she was going here to see these people. So if something happens, people need a point of reference to try to find you. That could be a matter of life and death. All this sneaky link bullshit, that shit needs to go by the wayside. You better pick some people in your family, preferably, and tell them where the hell you are going. You hear me? Because that could be your life on the line playing with that. So I had to put that out there. Okay, because like I said, I'm doing this broadcast from a place of concern tonight. Salute to the brother Christopher L. Ellis for the cash out. Thank you very much. So, I want y'all to listen to this update they had on this, and we going to further continue analyzing this. Again, tonight's broadcast is done not to mock anybody, but to try to save the lives that can be saved. Let it continue.
We're learning new details about the investigation into body parts found in Milwaukee County.
A severed leg was found on a beach on April 2nd, and it had been preliminarily identified to belonging to 19-year-old Sade Robinson. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and Police Department did hold a news conference a little bit ago this morning.
Let's go into that press conference that happened just moments ago.
Morning, folks. I'm James Burnett, spokesman for the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. I am here with Milwaukee County Sheriff Danita Ball, Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman. A little bit of housekeeping really quickly. You probably know this. If you don't, you probably should not be here. Sheriff Ball, D-E-N-I-T-A-B-A-L-L. Chief Norman, J-E-F-F-R-E-Y-N-O-R-M-A-N. We good? Great. Okay, so we're here for a briefing on the an ongoing investigation for human remains that were discovered early last week, and again, all the subsequent information that has come after that. I have to tell you, this briefing may be brief because there are a number of questions we may not be able to answer. That said, Sheriff Ball, Chief Norman will give you what they can, and on that, I will hand it off to the Sheriff.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to give a brief update regarding the severed leg that was found and some of the human remains that have been found throughout Milwaukee County. As you know, on April the 2nd at approximately 5:29 p.m., Milwaukee County 911 dispatch received a call from Cudahy Police Department regarding a severed leg at Warnemont Park. It was near the golf course and the pumping house. And so the leg was amputated from the around the hip down.
Salute to the brother 400 for the cash app. Now, let me interject this to point this out too, because for the black women that's got some sense, no matter what your lineage or your age range is, maybe this will stick with you because, again, I'm going to say it one more time. I understand people are going to do what they want to do when they're grown. Let me explain something to you. The reason why I'm always bringing up history and that you have a strong command of it so you understand how it correlates to present day. Let me tell you something. Up there where this happened at, there are a lot of white supremacist gangs up there. See, a lot of times, and I got to go here with this too. A lot of times when these divestment dummies, okay, and I'm not saying the sister Sade Robinson was a divestment dummy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking, when I say divestment dummy, I'm talking about the people that tell them to go explore your options and get you a white man and all this without talking about the dangers of this case. So I want to make that part unequivocally clear. You need to understand what types of white supremacist gangs are in your area. And a lot of times, if you think that Zaddy is cute, you don't know if he's somebody that's, hey, killing you, because let's go here. I've covered this many times on this channel, and many other people in New Black Media have covered this. A lot of times, in order to make rank in white supremacist gangs, one of the things they have to do is kill a black person. I know that scares a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. They call it being blooded, okay? It's the same thing in prison. We always try to teach you when you're out and about to look at this pattern in their laces. They don't like me telling you this, but I got to tell my people the truth, so hopefully it'll save your lives. It's nothing that many of us haven't said in New Black Media for years, but if you look down and you see them with black boots and red laces, that's letting you know what time it is. You ever see that out and about anywhere? Brothers and sisters, be on your guard, okay? Because that's a carryover from prison that's letting you know who they are. The certain attire, the certain tattoos. I need to do an updated broadcast on that. But my point is, sisters, you better, if you're going to go after Zaddy, you better make sure you understand what's in your area, because you could be the next target. And see, let me say this to all the sisters listening, no matter what your lineage is, because I'm saying this to try to reach everybody. I get it that today, especially in the Western world, and this is what I hate about Western society, period, because as I've said many times, when you go to the Eastern world, it's a bit different over there. As we see in India and other places where they just constantly beating the hell out of their women. I warned you all about how they treat their women over in Saudi Arabia and other places like that. But in the Western world, it has given this veiled fantasy where and I hate them doing this because they blow smoke about women's asses to make you think that you're stronger than you are. No, you are not. It's not me you're arguing with. Biological science. Let me give you some science to look up. Family, how many of you in this chat room know that the average man, I'm not even talking about an Olympic weightlifter or anything like that. How many of you know that the average man's hand strength is 17 times stronger than a woman's? Do you hear me? The average man, not an Olympic weightlifter, our hands are 17 times stronger than yours. That means out of the two of us, we're the only one of the species that can pretty much kill you with our bare hands. Why am I saying this? Not to scare sisters or anything. I'm saying it because if you put yourself in a situation with Zaddy and then shit go left, no matter how much shit you talk, because your running mouth isn't going to protect you, no matter how much shit you talk, no matter how much everybody talk about, ooh, you can do this, you can do that, chances are when it's reality, you're not going to really be able to handle that, especially if you don't have any type of combat training. So my thing is, I'm pleading with you, don't put yourself in these dangerous situations with any man that you can't trust. But we're talking about with these killer zaddies that have a track record of killing our sisters, okay? So I'm going to let this report continue. I just wanted to drop that bit of information on you. Let's let it continue.
And as a result, the The leg appeared to be that of an African American female. Subsequently, a Milwaukee police officer who was aware of our investigation raised the possibility that the leg may be related to a missing person investigation that they were conducting, and that missing person was Sade Robinson. So on Wednesday, April the 4th, our investigation led to a person of interest, Maxwell Stephen Anderson, who lives in the 3100 block of South 39th Street, where he was arrested after a traffic stop near the home. A search warrant was conducted. The severed leg has been preliminarily identified as belonging to Ms. Robinson. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Robinson family, friends, and the Milwaukee community who have embraced this family. We are sorry for your loss. It's such a tragic incident. Our investigators have worked around the clock on this investigation. As a result of their diligence and with the help of our criminal justice partners, the District Attorney's Office issued charges today against Maxwell Stephen Anderson for first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson of property other than building. He remains in custody. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office would like to thank all of our partners involved in this investigation, specifically the Milwaukee Police Department, the Cudahy Police Department, the Kenosha Police Department, the Madison Police Department K-9 Unit, Great Lakes Search and Rescue K-9 Unit, the FBI, the ATF, the Department of Justice's Division of Criminal Investigation and their crime lab, the Medical Examiner's Office, the District Attorney's Office, the Milwaukee County Transit System, Wisconsin Southern Railroad, the United States Coast Guard, forensic anthropologist Gordon Karsten, and other partners who may have helped in this endeavor. Your help was very invaluable. Again, we extend our sincere condolences to the Robinson family as they navigate this difficult time and mourn the loss of Sade. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Norman, who's going to talk about other parts of the investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Paul. First and foremost,
now I want to take the time to point out a good point that the brother Solo Dolo brought up in the chat room, and I'm glad you mentioned that. The brother said, beware wiggers. They use that act as a camouflage. Example, Jason Roger Pope. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because he's right on that. But see, let me tell you something about that Jason Roger Pope thing. I said this. A lot of people got mad at me for it when I said it. But the Jason Roger Pope thing, let me tell you who else I blame in that situation. The dumbass Negroes that brought him around. Oh, this white boy cool. Let me tell you something right now. I got friends in all different races. You know what I don't do, though? I absolutely will not introduce no white male to a black woman trying to hook them up. If they find their way to each other, they have to do it without me because I don't trust them like that because of things like this. So I'm glad you brought that up because, see, that Jason Roger Pope thing had the men in the community properly gatekept and didn't allow him to come around just because he was a DJ. Chances are he wouldn't have been able to do what he did to that degree. And we see how they treating him with kid gloves because if that was a black man that had done that to a bunch of little white girls, he'd have been given the death penalty. But I'm glad you brought that up, brother. That's a good point. Let's let it continue.
After the Milwaukee Police Department, our hearts and prayers go out to the family of Sade Robinson. This is a horrendous tragedy, and above all else, we cannot imagine the pain that you must be going through. Please know that you have our deepest thoughts and condolences. Details of some of the Milwaukee Police Department's involvement can be found in the criminal complaint that was filed by the district attorney this morning. What we can share at this time is this. On April 2nd, Milwaukee Police Department investigated an arson at the 2800 block of West Lisbon Avenue. Video surveillance recovered from the arson investigation led investigators to search the area of 3000 West Galena Street. On Friday, April 5th, investigators located human remains in the area. On Saturday, April 6th, MPD continued the search in the area and located additional human remains on the railroad tracks. Later in the evening on Saturday, April 6th, MPD returned to the area when Ms. Robinson's family located her blanket. At this time, detectives located additional human remains. The identification of the human remains recovered by MPD are still pending. I repeat that. The additional human remains is still being looked at, and the investigation is pending in regards to the identification of that. Please note, we continue to search for additional evidence that has not been located. Anyone with information is asked to contact Milwaukee Police Department at 414-935-7360, or to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 414-224-TIPS, or P3-TIPS. We are grateful for the efforts of the Sheriff Department, the District Attorney's Office, and other federal and local law enforcement partners for their tireless efforts to gather facts and evidence in this case. Please remember, this is an ongoing investigation, and as information becomes available, we will do so in sharing it. And we also ask to please remember to respect the privacy of the family at this time and allow them to grieve. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Sheriff Ball.
So if you have some questions that we can answer, you can ask them now.
Just to clarify, so the severed leg has been confirmed connected to Robinson, but not the human remains found Friday, Saturday, and Sunday by the Milwaukee Police Department.
A preliminary investigation have shown that the leg is Ms. Robinson's, and yes, the human remains have not been identified yet.
Are you looking into other missing women and reviewing those cases to possibly connect it to this case?
This is an ongoing case, and we have looked at other parts of the investigation to see if there are any others that could be linked, and so far there hasn't been any evidence that there is any other victims.
Are you concerned that there could be other victims?
There hasn't been anything that is pointing to that right now.
Prosecutors are saying that this happened from the time that the two went back to Anderson's house, according to the criminal complaint, until the time that he pinged to Warnemont Park, which is a pretty wide time frame. Do we know when this killing happened and where it happened? Was it at the home? Was it in the car? Was it at the park? I'm a little unclear on that portion of the criminal complaint.
We can't, it's still part of the ongoing investigation, so we can't comment on that.
Do you know how she died?
Can't comment on that.
Or do we know how they met, the suspect and the victim?
It's my understanding that they may have met at his place of employment, but right now we can't confirm that.
Since we don't have identification of all of the remains that have been found, can you confirm or not if there is any danger to the public?
At this time, we don't believe that there are any other victims out there and that the person who is responsible for this heinous crime has been arrested.
Are you still searching for remains for Ms. Robinson?
Yes, we are.
Do you know where those remains could be?
No.
Have you found have you recovered a murder weapon in this situation?
Ongoing investigation.
Folks, we got time. Interest of time, 2 more questions.
Has there been a motive established?
Ongoing investigation.
What did you find inside that home, specifically in the basement?
Cannot release that at this time.
Is anyone else connected to the crime? Will there be more charges?
We have no evidence there's anyone else that's related to this offense, but as I stated before, it is an ongoing investigation.
When is the soonest that we can expect another update?
As soon as we get information.
Is he speaking with investigators? Anderson?
It's my understanding that he has retained a lawyer.
Is there anything you can say about the sex dungeon?
No.
All right, folks.
Just could you describe the crime? I mean, you called it a heinous crime. Just how are your investigators doing having to tackle this right now?
Well, just to know that someone has, been dismembered in a fashion like that, our investigators, they want to find justice for the victim. And so right now, that's what their focus is on. But, any crimes like this, it's bound to, at some point in time, have an effect on those who are involved.
Well, Sheriff, thanks. Chief, thanks for your time. No promises, but there could be an additional briefing at a later date, sooner rather than later. If you have any follow-up questions, I wish I could tell you to call Sergeant Cornejo over there and not me, but
I'm sure he does.
call me.
All right, there it is, that news conference today in Milwaukee, and the last question was, this is got to be very difficult for those involved in this identification of these body parts being found around the county.
Right.
And I'm glad they clarified that there's no indication that there are multiple victims. It's just the timing of positively IDing all of the body parts.
ID'd one part and not another.
Yeah, the leg and the rest is still pending, but there's no indication that there's other victims here. Michael Jafer, there does seem to be enough, obviously, to...
Now, let me pause it right here, because, see, let's go ahead and be real with this, because you heard what that reporter just said. Family, you better understand, when these white supremacist males do things like this is not their first rodeo. That's not the first time he's ever killed somebody. He's probably killed several black women, and they don't know nothing about it. I wouldn't be surprised if during the investigation, if they happen to find out that's exactly what the case is, okay? A person doesn't just start doing something like that overnight. Now, he got sloppy with things this time and, spreading the body parts here or there, because sometimes they do things, and I know this sounds hard to believe, but if you study most of their mass murderers and serial killers, sometimes they'll tell you they just wanted to be caught to be famous. That, too, is something that runs in their community. But see, when I looked at this sister's age, okay, it's even hard for me to talk about this because it makes me very angry. But I know many of you probably remember when we learned about this sister's murder. Private Lavina Johnson. She was 18 years old at the time of her death, and she joined the United States military to serve her country. This reminds me of that, which is why I don't care how many people get mad at me saying this live or recorded. I really don't want any of our women going to the military. I don't. I don't want black people, period, going there now. I know a lot of you are GBS, you a veteran. Yeah, I am. But our people have fought enough, okay? I don't advocate our young black men and women going into any branch of the service. I've said this many times. I get a lot of smoke for this. Don't care. Because we fought in every war this country has ever had, and look how we're still treated in this country. Family, let me tell you something. What happened to this sister and many others, this needs to be a hate crime. See, this is why we're going so hard in the paint trying to push for a hate crime bill. Because that's exactly what this should be, a hate crime. This no good, dirty white supremacist killed this woman. And again, I'm not leaving the divestment dummies off the hook, because chances are, if they look at her social media history, she probably was in some of these places like that silly ass sprinkle bitch. Yes, I'm calling her exactly what she is. Crystal and Kerrison and all the rest of them that's always promoting divesting and everything and never looking at the deadly consequences that these things have. It's not just one or two stories. We've covered these stories for years. And then notice this. When they see these young sisters are out here dying, they don't raise a whisper in their defense or calling for justice. See, it would be different if they said, okay, you know what? We're going to be front and center trying to make sure that justice is served for our fellow divestment sister. And I'm not saying she was, but I'm just saying it's a likelihood that she was listening to these platforms. They don't even try to get any type of justice for them. So their feet have to be held to the fire too. And see, let me tell you something. Black parents in here that have daughters, just like I tell the black parents that have sons, when it comes to the likes of Andrew Tate and all that other bullshit, let me tell you something. If you got daughters, you better understand what they're ingesting online, and you better start having conversations with them about these types of things so that you don't have to be in this situation. Because let me tell you something. No parent should ever have to know what it's like to bury their child. Let's let it continue.
To charge this individual, they met at his workplace. It doesn't sound like they worked together. I'm not quite, we're not sure where he worked, but this was a first date turned fatal, according to the criminal complaint. Your thoughts here on what's next here? He's got a lawyer. What's next for both sides?
Case, because whenever police make the move that they make now, we were just analyzing this last week on another case. Whenever you see police make the moves that they're making now, they're pretty certain, right? That doesn't mean it's a guarantee that you're going to get convicted, but it does mean that it does guarantee you that they're confident in their case for them to make the move, right? And so this person basically now, we're going to start seeing the evidence come out. The investigation is still ongoing, right? And so we really don't know the extent of the evidence, but they feel pretty confident to charge him. Obviously, right? Double jeopardy would apply if you charge somebody, you go to a trial and they get acquitted, right? I mean, then at that point, if evidence comes out later on, then they've already been acquitted, it's done, right? So they seem pretty confident. So the next steps are us basically just seeing it lay out there, and then they proceed with the charges.
This is such a difficult case, and I know a lot of women watching this are going to be reacting and having a lot of questions about how they met. I know they mentioned the workplace, but the criminal complaint says that she was excited about this first date with someone new, and there's the images, the surveillance video of her sitting at the bar with him, that they're laughing, things seem to be going good. How did things turn to this? But I think that possible date turned fatal element of this, Michael Jaffer, will be just an added thing that would be really hard for a jury to overlook if this case goes there.
We're in an era now where you could date anybody at any time and meet people online anywhere, right? And then you meet people. And so the overwhelming majority of those encounters do not end up in charred, dismembered remains laying around your community. They don't end that way. We all find out about the cases like this, which have a chilling effect on everybody else in society. And so everybody, you see this beautiful girl, right, in the pictures of her, right? This is going to resonate, and this is going to be the thing that, would taint a jury pool. This person either did it or didn't do it. Those are the only two options. He's either guilty or he either did it or he didn't do it. We're all going to be looking at the evidence to see, not only because we want justice in this case, but because we all have, daughters and we were sisters, who meet people online, and you don't want to imagine stuff like this happens. Again, it happens in the infinitesimal percentage of these encounters, but it happens, and it's a reminder that it happens. So we're going to be looking at this case closely for personal reasons and business reasons.
Absolutely.
It is. These are the ones that just shock you to the core. Things that happen in life, and every now and then something comes up, and you're like, "Whoa!" It makes you think.
All right, so I'm gonna take the time to address this because we heard a lot right there. But what you see on the screen here, divestment dummies are to blame. Yes, they are. They have just as much of a hand in this as the white supremacists that murdered these young sisters. And let me say to some in the chat room, because I know everybody might not be aware, when you listen to a live broadcast, make sure that you scroll your bar forward so that you at the current point of the broadcast, because I think some of y'all be behind in the broadcast. Y'all be making comments on stuff that we've already addressed. So check to make sure that you up to speed with the rest of us, okay? Because sometimes y'all might be listening behind in the broadcast, all right? But let me say something, right? Because we got to go deeper into how these things occur. First and foremost, I want to say this to you sisters and the brothers. If you are out here saying, okay, I want to go see what it's like on the other side, for God's sake, to black men and black women, it should be a red flag if the only thing you can get is the white men and the white women that they don't even want. That's your first red flag. And see, let me say this too, because the brother, I think, let me see here, Derek Parker, he made a good comment here in the chat. He said he's going to talk to his sister after this broadcast is over. Glad you said that, brother, because let me say this. Because see, this is one of the things that we have to master as men, because being a protector is more than just financial provision, knowing how to fight, okay, problem solving, all the natural things that come with being a masculine protector. Another part of that is being an effective communicator, okay? So I want all the brothers listening to this to hear what I'm saying. My good brother Derek Parker, when you go to talk to your sister, not just you, but any man listening to this that's gonna have these conversations with your female loved ones, don't go at them with the standpoint of, you better not date these crackers, this, that, the third. No, that's not gonna work. The first thing out your mouth should be this. You pick a time and a place, you let your sister or whatever female family member it is, let them know, hey, I want to talk to you about something very important. When y'all don't have no distractions, you sit down and say, listen, the first thing I want you to understand that as your family member, I love you very much and you mean the world to me. And I would be devastated if something ever happened to you. So I need you to hear what I'm saying. Those should be the first words out your mouth. Let me tell you why. Because you got to understand something. As men, the way we talk a lot of times, our tone comes across a certain way, but even beyond that, this is true for everybody. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You understand? So you start out that conversation like that, then you go into the reasons why, and don't let it just be a conversation where you're drilling them and telling them this, telling them that. Make it an open conversation so that you actually having a dialogue where they ask questions, you ask questions, and you get a frame of reference for where their mindset is on these types of things. And you use these stories showing what has happened to a lot of sisters that chose to go over there to that other side just because they got their heart broken or whatever. Same thing for the brothers. You start with those things. So there's a way to have those conversations with people so that it doesn't go in one ear and out the other, okay? Let them know that you're approaching them with these conversations from a place of concern so you don't have to see anything like that happen to them, okay? So remember, a part of being a protector is being an effective communicator, okay? That's something that a lot of men have to work on, all right? I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but it's something I've learned to master over the years. So just keep that bit of advice in mind when you're talking to your female loved ones. But we're not done yet because, see, we got to look at some past stories here because I want to make sure that everybody understands exactly what's going on when it comes to these types of things, all right? So we're going to look at some further cases here in the past that happened. And I really hope that people would just take this to heart because these stories are years old, but we need to bring these things back to the public mindset to try to put this message out here to get people to think before they go over there taking these damn chances with Zaddy, who don't care nothing about his own women. And see, before I start this, let me say this to you young sisters, listen to this live or recorded. If he'll kill his own women and children, his own, what makes you think he won't kill you? Okay. So salute to the brother Kier Edwards, aka Nightfall Drop for the cash out. Thank you very much, my brother. So remember, I'm gonna say it again. If Zaddy will kill his own women and children, what makes you think that he won't do the same to you? We're gonna play these different stories here. We're gonna be stopping and giving commentary where need be.
Now to an I-Team exclusive. There are new questions about the police investigation into the dating app death of a young woman, Lauren Smithfields in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace delves into that mystery.
They wanted us to forget about our daughter, their sister, our loved one. They thought they was gonna just throw her away like she was
garbage.
Amid this family's anguish are emotions of outrage and disgust at how the Bridgeport Police Department has investigated the mysterious death of 23-year-old Lauren Smithfields.
It was careless. It was no concern. There was no care for the family about how we felt, our grief, our pain, none of that.
The I-Team obtained this police report of the response to a 911 call from Lauren's apartment on the morning of December 12th from a white male identified as Matthew LaFountain. The investigator notes he was trembling and visibly shaken. LaFountain said they met on the dating site Bumble, began drinking shots of tequila, and Lauren became ill. That later they played some games, ate some food, and started to watch a movie. He says he carried her to her bedroom and laid her in her bed. He then laid down next to her and fell asleep. He woke up again at approximately 0630 hours, and she was laying on her right side. Blood was coming out of her right nostril onto the bed, and she was not breathing.
The whole day goes by. No police reach out to the family at all.
Her close-knit family says they went to the apartment the next day after frantically calling and texting Lauren and were referred to a Detective Cronin.
They didn't even contact us. They didn't let us know anything. It's crazy. And I'm asking him what's going on. He said she met some guy on Bumble. And I'm asking him about the guy. He was like, oh, he sounds like a really nice guy. He sounds like a really good guy. And he was like, I'll call you back, and just hung up in my face.
They say the detective promised to come by the apartment.
Never showed up.
The family says the relationship with police devolved from there. No contact from December 13th until December 29th. They returned to the apartment to clear out Lauren's belongings and claim a new detective came by to say he'd taken over the case from Detective Cronin.
The detective said he effed up.
Now let me pause this right here, because see, this is why I do what I do on my platform. I want y'all to understand that when the police, the race soldiers, started acting that way towards this woman's family, let me tell you what that was. And see, this is another danger for black men and black women. When you choose to hop over the fence and date them folks, you got to keep this in mind. And salute to the good brother Dom757 for the cash. Yep. Thank you very much. You got to understand this. In a system of white supremacy, especially over here in America, them folks are the majority of the race soldier squadrons that are so-called called police forces, okay? You have to keep in mind that if you dating one of them, whether you're a black man or a black woman, and they decide to do something to you, how many times do you think that these divestment dummies point out that, hey, maybe this person that you dating, if they decided to harm you, they probably clicked in with the police to the point that they'll cover up your murder. And then when your family calls to try to get some answers, they'll tell your family, oh, that was a nice guy or a nice gal. I don't think they would do anything like that. See, I talk to my people, even if I'm going to piss you off, I talk to you in a way where I'm telling you the truth, okay? So you got to understand that that's a danger and a risk that you taking dealing with them folks. The other thing I got to say, for most black men, we understand this, but I'm going to speak for my generation, Generation X, okay? Let me tell you how I was taught by my father, my uncles, and my grandfathers. When a woman is in your presence, in your company, okay, and you out on a date with her, whatever the case may be, or even, let's just say, if it's just your female family members, the way I was raised, when that woman is in your presence, you are responsible for her safety. You understand? The reason I'm saying that is, we all know how tragic this case turned out because he got this woman to ingest some damn fentanyl. Ladies, let me tell y'all this, man. Brothers too, but ladies, let me talk to you. If you jump over there to the other side dealing with zaddy and you know you got you a drug addict, that's red flag number one. Haul ass in the other direction. They don't just roll up a blunt or two here and there. They do all kinds of damn drugs that you know our people don't mess with like that. Do you know how deadly that shit is? Fentanyl? Huh? And it's just a shame that nobody in her family really understood her mindset. Nobody tried to talk to her. But then again, you know what? Let me not say that because I don't know if they tried to talk to her about these things or not. I'll say this. If they didn't, if you somebody listen to this broadcast and you haven't had these conversations with your black female family member, it's time to do it. Don't wait. Risk them getting mad at you because at least you will have tried in good faith. Don't wait until something happens and then now you sitting up here on the news report. I don't want that for any of y'all. And let me say this to you divestment dummies over there. The reason why I focus more on the younger black women is because there's still hope for them to be educated and saved. These old heifers, they suicidal. They ain't nothing you can do with them. They not gonna listen, so I'm not even trying to reach them, especially the ones with these platforms making money off these sisters' pain, okay? But not caring when you lead them into a situation where they could be on the news like this case here. So, with that said, these conversations are uncomfortable, but you must have them if you love your female family members. It's time. Don't sit up here and then your female relative is next. Let's let it continue.
Messed up. He F Cronin. He messed up. He didn't know what he was doing. He messed up the case.
The family says they provided evidence they'd collected to crime scene investigators who arrived for the first time that day, included a bloody sheet and a pill.
And 2 cups of like drinks or whatever next to a bottle. They didn't take none of that. We seen a condom. We seen lube, other stuff in there, and they didn't take none of this.
Sources close to the investigation tell the I-Team the Matthew LaFountain pictured in this social media photo, now removed, was the man at Lauren's apartment. A neighbor at his listed address in Milford confirmed LaFountain's identity, but we were unable to reach the 37-year-old who has not been accused of any wrongdoing. LaFountain's same image appeared under the name Matthew Thomas, now also taken down.
Anyone that genuinely cared and they were there, the last person there, and they know that nothing bad happened, you would at least even reach out to the family yourself. Like, listen, I know I'm sorry for your loss of your daughter or your sister.
The family's last contact with police was on January 4th at headquarters with their attorney.
What I believe is that the police failed to collect and preserve that environment from the first day.
The attorney has now filed a notice of claim to sue Bridgeport for negligence, claiming key evidence was not initially submitted to the state lab.
I feel like because he's a white guy and she's a black girl, it's just almost like they just thrown it under the rug.
That night she was silenced, so now we are her voice. But we're here and we're fighting for her.
The Bridgeport Police Department did not respond to repeated messages we left about the case, but in previous statements, they've said the investigation is open and active, and that detectives are waiting for a final report from the medical examiner on the cause and manner of death. Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
Also, we just received a statement from the dating site Bumble that Sarah mentioned. A spokesperson says, "We are deeply saddened by news of Lauren Smithfield's death and have reached out directly to the family to offer support. We have been in contact with law enforcement, but they have not yet requested any information."
God, please.
Now, I'm so glad that they brought that up at the end of that report. Let me make sure I preface my comments because I'm well aware that society has changed, being that I'm of Generation X. So I'm saying this, talking to the younger people. I get it. Technology has made things a lot more convenient today, but let me tell you something. This relying on dating apps to meet people, that shit is dangerous. You understand? You better start getting back outside and meeting folks, okay? I'm telling you now. Do you know how many degenerate weirdos are on these damn dating apps, especially when you start jumping over there trying to date Zaddy? It's too many of them over there. So I'm saying, y'all better get back to doing some things the old-fashioned way. I get it. Yes, I know I'm from a different generation, but I'm talking to you to preserve your safety, okay? So again, I'm going to say it one more time. I don't care who you are. If you out here doing your thing or whatever, you grown, tell somebody where you going. At least one or preferably at least 3 people, but definitely at least one person. Tell somebody where you going, okay? I hate that happened to that sister. And see, I'm glad that the brother, let me see. I think that was Brother Dom that brought that up. Yeah, the Brother Domsky Arcade, he brought up a good point. Even though this broadcast is primarily about trying to deter these sisters from being in these deadly situations, he brought up the situation there with that murderous Ed Buck that was killing all those black LGBTQ brothers. Let me say this. Y'all better be careful in that community too. I'm saying this out of love for you as a fellow black man, a heterosexual black man. I'm saying it to you out of love. Y'all better be careful. Those of you in that community that put your sexuality ahead of your race, let me tell you what the problem is with that. When you jump out here in the dating world or anywhere else when it comes to politics, that white LGBTQ community, they don't put their sexuality ahead of their race. You understand me? It's raised first with them. So if you out here in that community, I'm saying it to you directly. I don't want to see you brothers and sisters out there harmed. I really don't. I don't want to see any of our people murdered and harmed unjustly this way. So if you out there in the LGBTQ community, you better be careful and take to heart what I'm saying here too, because I'm glad that brother brought that up. I probably wouldn't have thought to mention that had he not said it. I want all my people to be safe, okay? So we're going to look at some more cases here because, see, I want to make this message stick. And again, I know it's not for everybody. I'm not trying to reach everybody. I'm just trying to reach the people that I can, because I don't like seeing young black life, men or women, cut down in their prime before they even get a chance to experience life. So we're going to further examine some of these, and I hope that the right people will take notes and take this to heart.
Don't let this end bad.
Stunned neighbors watched SWAT officers from the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office swarm the outside of a home after 911 calls alerted them to a man who may have shot his wife and children inside the home.
We have, look, there's this guy right there. He's on our sidewalk with gun.
You're kidding.
With a gun.
The videos and other photos from neighbors show how this quiet neighborhood instantly turned into a crime scene. It wasn't until later, when deputies made entry into the home, that they discovered 30-year-old Jonathan Anderson, his wife, 29-year-old Kiera, and two sons, 5-year-old Joseph and 2-year-old Jeffrey, dead from gunshot wounds. Detectives have not released a motive behind the shooting, but say Joseph Anderson shot and killed his family before taking his own life. Neighbors tell 10TV they did not hear or know of anything that would have led them to believe something bad was about to happen. This Applebee's in Lancaster is where Kiera used to work. Her co-workers have set up a table in her honor. The table is draped with an Army hat and flag in honor of her service to the country, as well as several photos inside a single plaque. Outside her home, a growing memorial of children's balloons honors the couple's 2 children who lost their lives. As the rest of the neighborhood prepares to celebrate Christmas, one family is left to mourn the loss of 4 people and wonder why this happened and could it have been prevented. Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
So as you heard, Kiera, she was a veteran of the U.S. Army. She had 2 children with Zaddy here. Now, she ended up meeting him while she was in the military. That's how she got with him. Well, some other things came out after, this report, is that her sister has said that there was trouble in the house with Zaddy, okay? And Kiera was getting her divorce papers together. And the times that she was trying to get her divorce papers together, they were separated for a time, but she wanted to, trying to figure out the situation with her children and, Zaddy here, okay? So Kiera was actually ready to move on with her life and say she was happy, but that's not what Zaddy wanted, for Kiera. So as Kiera was going to leave him, Zaddy here decided to take Kiera's life and her 2 children and himself. Now, in these divestment news segments, we always will present the statement. I thought that y'all said that Zaddy don't do things like black men. And I don't know too many brothers that's sitting up here. It's rare if they do. Some of them have done it, but it's rare. I don't know too many brothers that's constantly keep doing things like this. Now, if you cover in the news, in which I'm a news guy, I do that plenty, and I've done it for going on 10 years, I would tell you Zaddy has done this a lot within his community. He has. And everything you claiming that black men this and black men that, sorry. You know, now if you had a couple of bad experiences with brothers, okay, I get it. I mean, not all brothers are good, but not all sisters are good either. But you don't sit up here and propagandize another group of people and thinking they're the holy grail and nothing will happen to you. You understand? Now, the ones who's lost, I don't care about them females. I'm talking about the young females that they're trying to influence and lead them down a horrible path. Kiara was trying to get away from Zaddy, okay? She was trying to move on with her life. But unfortunately, Zaddy's culture and characteristics came out, and she's not here no more. This episode of Divestor Tales, we have...
Now, see? That situation right there, okay? She met that guy when she was in the military, got with him, had kids and everything. You saw how that turned out. I'm probably one of the only people that you'll hear say this in as stark and graphic a detail. But see, let me remind you, sister, something. And I'm going to keep saying this, especially when it comes to things this way. In a system of white supremacy, all black people are hated. All of us. We are. But, you are hated more than any of us, the women of our community, black women. Do you know why? In case you don't remember me saying this, I've been saying it for years. Let me refresh your memory. In the effort of preserving life that will listen to this message, you are hated more in a system of white supremacists by the white supremacists because you are the gateways to new life for our people. You better understand that these demonic, murderous bastards, they look at you the same way as they would a pest or a parasite that spreads an infection. This is how the white supremacists see you. I understand. The average black person or black woman will find that hard to grasp. You better listen to your brother. I'm from down here in the South, and I know what I'm telling you. I got a broadcast coming up on Patreon that I can't show on YouTube, but it's going to underscore the point that I'm making here tonight. You better understand that they see you as vermin. This is how these degenerates see you. So this is why they can do these types of things to you. See, I got to say this. When you run across those white guys that's paying you compliments, this, that, and the third, you got to keep in the back of your mind, are they fetishizing you? Okay, because this applies to the brothers as well. But see, I'm talking more to the women because, you know, let's just face it. In a situation where it's a white supremacist male and it's a black sister, and that go left, chances are she's not going to make it out of there by herself, especially if she ain't armed with practicing her Second Amendment right. Okay, or at least if she don't have a blade on her or something. And look, let me say this, because see, I'm aware that there's going to be some people that'll hear this message. I don't care what you say to GBS. I'm young, I'm out here, I'm getting attention from Zaddy, I'm going to do what I want to do. Okay, fine, I got it. Do me this favor and do yourself this favor. If you going out here meeting these zaddies for the first time, if you're not going to take my advice and let somebody know where you're at, practice your Second Amendment right. Keep something on you. So if he start doing something silly and going left, you at least got a chance to protect yourself. At the very least, a blade or something. So that if you get out there and you happen to meet one of these demonic bastards that have killed these types of sisters in these stories that we cover here tonight, at least you give yourself a fighting chance to get the hell up out of there and get back home to your family. Do that for you, brother. That's just how much I love my people. Even if you don't agree with what I say, I try to give you information that you can use. But see, back to my point about how they see sisters, anything that creates more of what they hate, which is black folks, they look at you as something that needs to be exterminated. See, a lot of people would tap dance around that and sugarcoat things. I'm not going to play them kinds of games. I need my people to understand what we dealing with and how they really see you, okay? So, Brother Phil here, and these are old stories, but I want to put these stories in here tonight to underscore my point. So, Brother Phil has got another story that he's going to cover here. We're going to examine this one as well. Let's let it continue.
And another unfortunate incident with a sister by the name of Rosella Anderson. Now, this woman was dating a zaddy, And I want you to hear exactly what happened with that situation. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
News 4 was told by the manager of the Roadway Inn that he discovered blood outside of room 333. He reviewed surveillance video and saw a man step outside the room covered with blood. The manager called police. Investigators with Allegheny County Police say Matthew Gripshaw was covered with blood when they arrived and tried to hide a knife. They discovered the body of his girlfriend, Rosella Anderson, under the bed. In the criminal complaint, it says she was stabbed several times and was scalped.
Now, let me pause this right here. I want you to listen to the viciousness that these killings were done with. It's bad enough that they murdered these sisters. Listen to what they did to them. And if anybody listening to this doubts that I'm right about how they don't even see you as human and how they hate sisters more than us, even as black men, you argue with me after you listen to the rest of this report.
Searching the room, detectives say they found Anderson's scalp and teeth in a bathroom trash can. Gripshaw was arrested and taken to Forbes Regional Hospital to be treated for cuts, when detectives say he made several statements. The criminal complaint says this about Gripshaw's statements, quote, "Didn't like murdering a woman," and "He was up all night cleaning up from the barbaric act," and "Had to do what I had to do." Gripshaw's parents tell Pittsburgh's Action News 4 they're devastated and shaken by the events. They say Gripshaw and Anderson were at their home for Christmas and were very close. But they say their son was diagnosed as bipolar at Westmoreland Behavioral Health Services 2 years ago. They also say he stopped taking his medication recently. But even in his sickness, they say they would never imagine their son taking another person's life.
Now look at how they immediately try to jump to, oh, he was off his meds, he had a condition, when they know if any black man, and I'm not saying that anybody should get away with murder, but if any black man had done that to some white women, it wouldn't even matter that he had a condition or not. So that's the other thing they always try to throw in when these white supremacists kill our people. But see, before this continues, because again, I'm trying to craft this message in a way where, because I know some people are going to hear this, they're going to let it go in one ear out the other. Maybe they'll hear some of the things that I'm trying to get them to pay attention to and take these things to heart. I got to be graphic with this before this report here continues. Brothers and sisters, but primarily you sisters that want to go over here and join the Divestment Dummy movement, let me warn you of something else that in a way could be worse than death. It could be a prolonged, agonizing death. If you're on my Patreon, you know I posted a broadcast over there called Gift Givers and Bug Chasers. Now, if you don't know what a gift giver or a bug chaser is, then you are sorely behind out here in this dating market, especially if you're going to call yourself trying to swirl. Let me explain to you what a gift giver and a bug chaser is. And now this is going to sound insane to all black people in this broadcast live or recorded, because we would never think to do something this insane and demonic. I'm going to explain to you what that is. A gift giver is someone that goes out there and tries to willingly contract HIV, okay? And the bug chasers are people that are looking to get infected by it. This is over there in Zaddy's community. Let me expand on this further, why this is dangerous for you sisters. If you're going to meet Zaddy for the first time, like I said, you practice your Second Amendment right, or at least have a blade with you just in case it goes left. You're going to be hard-headed, not tell nobody where you at. And also, you better make sure some protection used, because these white supremacists, I have proven this. In fact, the business, after the broadcast, I will post this on the community tab so you can read the article for yourself. There have been white supremacists saying, hey, listen, out here, if you contract that, hey, take one for the team and infect as many of these niggers as you can. I'm telling you right now, I'm not making this up. See, this is why you have to be careful about people that's talking about the pro-blacks this, the B1s this. Because see, one thing about us over here in these spaces, when we tell you something, we mean what we saying. We can back it up with proof. So I'm telling you, if you're going to go over there and be with Zaddy, like I know some of you will, you better be careful. Because see, that's a slow death right there. You hear me? Don't worry. I'm gonna post receipts to what I just said on my community tab after the broadcast. So I just wanted to point that part out. Let's let it continue.
That is one of the most heinous things I've heard happen in a while. And I just couldn't imagine, that just even happening to a sister like that. But the divestors is on here saying Zaddy, will never, lay a finger on a hair on your head. Zaddy is the best option. This is what the divestors say on the internet. But when you ask them, okay, well, what about Rosella here? I mean, listen, say what you want to say about brothers. And I'm not saying every brother out here is an angel, because they're not. Okay? Brothers can't even get that far to even do a whole lot of things. You call the police one time on a brother, they're taking him to jail. But when it comes to these zaddies, they're not going to go to jail like that. It takes a lot. I mean, listen to what that guy had done. He not only stabbed the sister, he scalped her, cut her teeth out her mouth. Listen, that is heinous. And then they tried to backdoor and say, oh, well, because he had a mental health issue. No, every person that got a mental health issue is not doing things like that. That is who that zaddy is as a person. That is the nature of the zaddy. But you have, those females who's pushing this propaganda. And what if that sister saw one of their videos? What if they saw it? And then those divestors, a lot of them are just straight up liars anyway, because they'll get on the internet, they'll be a divestor for some change, but then they'll backdoor be with Tyrone somewhere.
Phil is, excuse me. Phil is telling the 100% truth about that. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all just don't know. A lot of these divestment dummies, they actually be in brothers' DMs. Oh, yes, they do. I'm telling you, but see, I'm just going to speak for myself. If you over there in the divestment dummy movement, and I know it, GBS don't want nothing to do with you, okay? No, because see, I know too much about the other things that Zaddy could give you to bring back to our community. Okay, so nope. If I know that's where you been, hey, I'm gonna call Zaddy to come get you. Like, hey, brother, this is one of yours. You need to come get her. Y'all better go and check that broadcast out on my Patreon. It's called Gift Givers and Bug Chasers, okay? And that applies double to those of you in the Black LGBTQ community, because these white supremacists, see, look, I'm gonna have to do a broadcast on the nature of evil one day, because that's something I have a very intimate understanding of. We don't really talk enough about what evil really is, because see, as I've said many times, as black folks, we're God's children. I'm not saying that there's no bad black people in our community. I'm never saying that. But what I am saying is when you start to look at the nature of some of these demonic crimes that them folks commit, we don't have that in us like that. We don't. Because if we did, we would have tried to deal with them the same way they dealt with us a long time ago. We've never done that. I'm going to take the time and put that broadcast together. I'm going to have to go and pull historical things, present day things, and put these things together in a context where people understand just how demonic these white supremacists are. That's just not something that I just say to be hyperbolic. They are demonic. So keep in mind, if you out here in this game, you better be careful what you're dealing with, because if they don't outright try to off you, they'll give you something that'll grant you a slow death. Let's let it continue.
And then look at the kind of guy that she had too. I want you to pay attention to this. This guy was dusty. Remember what I said? All you can get is a dusty black man, and all you can get is a dusty white man too. You can't get a white man that got some means to himself. But in your mind, his white skin makes him more valuable to you, even though as a man, we can say he dusty. Because men know that kind of hotel, that's not where you have your girlfriend at or your wife. That's a hotel where people be tricking at. Most people know that, okay, if you're going to take your wife or girlfriend somewhere, it's going to be at a reputable, nice chain hotel, right? And it's not, listen, hotels is accessed from the outside. It's usually not high-end hotels. Just keeping it real with you. So when I saw that hotel, I said, oh, man. man, he playing that. I said, oh yeah, he playing that. He playing that. He playing that. It was no random act. That zaddy had that jump playing. But brothers, you don't have to go and argue with the divestors or tell them anything. Only thing you have to present the truth of what's actually happening. And then all you have to say is the propaganda you're putting out. This is the consequences of your propaganda, because that's what it is. It's propaganda, because they doing this to get a bag off of hurt, sisters in the community, that dealt with some string of brothers. And because of, we have this internal hate for ourselves, we don't look at people as individuals in our community. So we go on and just say all black men are this, or all black women are that, when some few things that happen. But remember, the people that done something to you, you chose them, male or female, you chose them. So you need to look at yourself in your choices instead of trying to say it's all brothers and making a propaganda. Because let me tell you something, them same females is up here making this propaganda and making courses and all that, and making money off of you like that. A lot of them gonna go right home to a black man, or they backdooring with a black man somewhere. Even if they got a zaddy, they cheating, a lot of them, on their zaddy with a black man. Then they'll pop up later talking about, yeah, I finally met a good black man, but they all got these videos out there talking bad about brothers. That's why those females are really not quote unquote divestors. They're not, because someone that's truly divested would never say nothing about black men, black women. I'm done. I ain't got nothing to say about them people. I got zaddy here. I'm good. And it's also weird. If you got a zaddy, why are you talking about black men all day? Zaddy don't want to hear that. And most of y'all go get a racist one at that. So you really don't want to hear about no black men, unless you know something is wrong with you. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this. This episode of Divestor Tales. Like I said, this is the most shocking one yet so far that we have covered. But let us know if you know any kind of more Divestor Tales. Just email us, and put in the title Divestor Tales and let us know, to give us a name or something, and we'll go research what you're talking about.
Now, let me say this to add this on to what Brother Phil said in that report. Black men and black women out here, if you dealing with other brothers and sisters and you have a bad experience, what he said about who we choose, that's something that we need to sit down and take a long look in the mirror at and see, number one, are we going for a particular type of person that we shouldn't be with? Are we ignoring red flags? And then, too, if you have a bad experience, sometimes it's good to fall back from the dating game and get yourself together, man. One of the worst things you can do is try to immediately hop back out into the dating game, especially for you women. I gotta say it, because you're making decisions based off emotions. That is not wise in life. You can't show me a decision on the planet made off of emotions that was a wise decision. Okay? So sometimes just take the time to fall back and reassess some things. Okay? For black men and black women alike. Okay? Because I don't ever want to see any of y'all up here on these reports. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the broadcast here tonight. So I'm imploring y'all, even those that don't like the message over here on this platform, if you hate my guts personally, I don't know why you would hate me, because a lot of people do. People hate folks that they don't even know. But listen, I'm trying to save your life. So again, to recap, for those that are just going to do what you want to do, women especially, if you're going to hop over there and date zaddy, practice your Second Amendment right. Keep your blade on you. And I go a third route. Keep you some pepper spray, some bear mace in your purse or something. Okay, fact of business. You know what? To go to show you how much I care about my people, I'm finna put something in. Y'all know what I'm finna drop in the chat. But those of you that are GBS, I'm gonna go get a zaddy right after this broadcast. I don't care what you're talking about. Okay, cool. Go get you a zaddy, but also I want you to go get some of this bear spray that I'm putting in the chat. I'm gonna put it in 3 times. Okay. Y'all know I don't ever recommend to you any products that I myself don't have. okay? I don't, because I keep this and other things on deck. And by the way, I'm going to be upgrading the Patreon and trying to put you up on some things, personal self-defense things that I think all black people should have, especially the sisters, okay? So for you divestment dummies that's not going to listen to none of this, please get you some of that bear spray and keep it with you, all right? Just in case, so you don't make the news, because see, it's clear that the people that's telling you to flip over to the other side, they don't care when they see you get murdered. You can't show me one of them. And you know what? If somebody can prove me wrong, let me know. Where are all these divestment dummy platforms that's talking about the murder of these sisters and advocating for their justice? Let me know, because I hadn't seen it yet. I'm not saying it's not out there, but I hadn't seen it. Where are they en masse saying, hey, listen, if you're going to have us dating you, then you can't be killing us. I got one better for you. It's going to hurt some feelings. But I'll hurt feelings if it means saving the life of my people. Because I don't have to like you to want you to live. You notice you don't see any large group of white men saying, hey, that's wrong. We love these sisters, man. We trying to get us some hot chocolate. Y'all better stop killing these sisters. Yeah, I got to go here. Where are the white men standing up against that? Huh? When that sister Lauren Smithfields was killed, where was all the white men saying, no, hell no, I don't care about how nice a guy he was. He need to be investigated and prosecuted. I like to say things to make you think over here and save your life. So with that said, thank you to everybody that contributed to the broadcast tonight. Like I said, I appreciate y'all for bearing with me, rescheduling things. Life happens offline, so we have to adjust accordingly. To you white supremacists that call yourself trying to attack this platform, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't gonna do nothing but be mad. You can try to send all the fraudulent claims over here that you want. Just know that I actually have a legal team over here that I deal with, so you're not really gonna be successful in doing anything with me. Good luck, Giblet. Good luck. So, and I appreciate y'all for bearing with my frog voice, okay? Don't worry, it'll be back to normal. Sometimes when you're a drill instructor doing things and training, you're going to have a hoarse voice at times. It just goes with the territory. But with that said, take care of yourselves out here. Practice your Second Amendment right. Protect yourselves. Love each other. We got for real. If we don't get protection from each other, we're not going to have it. Black first, salute, and I will see you all in future content.
This is the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, and we still have a lot of discrepancies as far as the origins of hip-hop, a lot of claims, who did what, who was the first this, who was the this and that, and such and such. But at the end of the day, we need a definitive story, all right? And that story can only be told by the founders of this culture.
Like everything was being driven and influenced by young, black, American culture. Like the slang, the style of dress, the initial music that we chose.
You look at all the boroughs, you got, money making Manhattan and money earning Mount Vernon and Crooklyn. The Bronx was the boogie down Bronx. We was partying up there.
I am Coke LaRock, the first MC of hip hop. First cat to pick the mic up.
I introduced rapping to the turntable because when I came with it, nobody in the world was doing it. I'm right after Rudy Ray Moore.
They want to come in the mix. They want to say, we started. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. What came to be known as hip hop was solely an African-American creation.
What would you get out of some Jamaican toast? What is that? I've never heard of a rapper use a Jamaican toast or a Jamaican fleur as a rhyme. I never heard of it, and I don't know where that myth came from.
My name is legendary King Trixie from the Bronx, BX from the West Side. I am the first break dancer.
That narrative that hip hop has had 3 founding fathers, that's been rolling for the last almost 30 years, which isn't true. You don't have just 3 people who created hip hop. Hip hop was created by a number of different people.
I am the grandfather, the godfather of the graffiti culture.
Roots of hip-hop being Jamaican, absolutely false.
My name is Rob. I am a founder of the MC/rap culture.
Cassette tapes was the internet of our time. It just traveled around by hand.
I know for a fact that the B-boy stand started from the gods, the 5%ers that would be at the jams back in the days who were acting as security.
If they get the real truth of how it all was created, then so many lies would not be able to be in existence.